Summer has historically been the prime time to put your house on the market. There could be some big changes this year. Realtors say the days of bidding wars and cash offers seem to be over, and that sellers may have to slash asking prices or wait longer to get any real offers. And mortgage rates aren't helping either. They've more than doubled since 2021. They're expected to continue rising, and those potential sellers still have to find a place to live. So joining me now is Eric Peterson, owner of Kopa Real Estate in Austin, Texas. Thank you so much for being with me, Eric. First of all, before we dig into the why of all of this, the past few years were great for sellers. Was some type of slowdown inevitable?
Oh, no doubt about it. And I do think the real important story here, because there's probably going to be home sellers and real estate agents that are in San Jose where cash offers are still going crazy and things like that, that will say, what am I talking about, right? But of course, I'm in Austin, Texas, where Austin has been the worst performing market from the peak, all-time peak, to today. And so even when that was happening, it did seem to be inevitable, and things were a little bit too good to be true. I do think that for any home sellers, it's important that they really have an expert that's actively working in their market that can give them information about what they're seeing happening today and not 6 months ago or a year ago. Some areas of the country are still doing great, and some areas of the country, we are seeing the inventory of homes increase, which will likely cause properties to, not crash, but likely cause some moderation in the appreciation that they've seen.
And Eric, what do you think is the biggest reason we're likely to see this different selling landscape over the summer in cities, in locations like Austin?
Mm-hmm. Well, Austin is probably unique in that there was this expectation that prices were going to go up forever. And so there was a ton of new home building that's gone on. So our inventory of homes has really increased in large part because of that as well. And even within pockets of Austin, when we talk about the real estate market, it's a fairly large area, and some areas are seeing about the same number of homes for sale as what we saw in 2019. And then other areas are seeing really a huge increase in the number of properties that have come on the market.
So would this be the time for somebody who's looking to move potentially, hey, maybe move to Austin? There seems to be all of these homes on the market.
Right. I think it's a great time. We're selling homes that we're selling for $700,000 2 years ago, and they're selling today for $560,000. And I think in some areas like ours, the market, the temperature of the market overall has become too negative, where I think that the buyers that are trying to time the market, waiting for a total crash, are probably going to feel like, boy, I really missed out on that house that was in a great neighborhood because prices have already come down so much. Right?
So really quickly, Eric, we don't have a lot of time left. In about 20 seconds, what would be your advice to a seller in the Austin area right now? Should they go ahead and put the home up on the market, or should they try to hold off?
Right. That's a great question. And that's the thing people talk about. Well, and then what I would always have to find out is, what are their goals? Are they looking to move to be closer to their grandkids, right? Are they looking to move because they just don't like where they are? Or, is it possibility of selling perhaps for next year a little bit more? But of course, the last 2 years, I've been very careful about not telling people to hold off, because that's been a losing bet. And so I have to be very careful about all of that. So I really encourage people to look at things holistically and ask themselves, well, why do I want to put my house on the market? Where do I want to go? And then they can talk to me, and we have a real conversation about Yeah, should you do it now or should you wait a year? And it's not my job to tell anybody that they should buy or sell a house at any particular time. It's whatever meets their goals.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.